Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang Dhammang Sanghang Gurutana Upajjaya Namasami. As you can clearly see, I'm wearing white robes. When we were offered the robe, together, we also given a brown robe, the lower robe. And I was told that we can use that while we're doing heavy duties in the ground. Because as a forest nun, we're trained to take care of self and the surroundings, so it's a lot of work to do every day. And as in the countryside, it can get dirty easily. So I usually change to the brown robe, a deeper color than this. So it's almost like earthy color. And usually I wash every week, it depends on the scale of the work. And I was told, the white will get dirty easily. And the brown, the dark color, won't get dirty easily. Just like when we're child, we believe there's the existence of Santa Claus. I truly believe that. And also, in the beginning of my years of training, I spent most of my energy and watching my mind. There's a swap of defilements arises all the time, and I never ever believe that there's so many defilements in his mind. Actually, before I was ordained, I didn't know the word defilement. I said, what is defilement? I'm not that dirty. Just like how I believe that the brown robe is not that dirty. Till after a while, once, that was not planned to work in the garden. No, it was not really a garden. It's just a piece of land. It's very wild, just like forest. So we get dirty very easily. So spontaneously, I decided to trim the tree and then to work without plan beforehand. So I would wear the white robe, get into the dirt. End of the day, I discovered I almost destroyed this robe. It was so dirty. And then a reflection just thumped upon me. And I said, it's the same thing to the brown robe. It gets dirty too, just like the white robe. How can I believe it's not dirty, it's clean? How come I've been using it, living with it, without seeing the stain in the deep color? And this is the moment I said to myself, this is what Lord Buddha's teaching. The wisdom is about see the things in the way they are. And we're being obscured from seeing it. Sometimes we think, at least I think, I am smart most of the time. But that moment is teaching me I'm not smart. I'm just smartly deluded. I'm how smartly deluded and seamlessly deluded. I don't even see the delusion. I was standing in my sink and tried to use any kinds of ways to clean my white robe, but I'm just standing there. I don't know for how long. That was deep learning, I think much deeper and much profound than any discovery that come to me during my meditation. That was an eye-opening moment. I still will change to the brown robe, but I clean it more often. I don't believe that it's clean. There's dirt there. And if our observation of our mindfulness is solid and constant, we will see it. We don't see it with the eyes. We see it with the awareness. And this willingness and this readiness to see, to accept things, can probably sometimes blow our mind in the most sort of down-to-earth moment in our life. I was very intrigued by meditation practice. As a matter of fact, in the first few years, my only interest is all channeled to meditation. I would get very upset when I cannot spend enough time meditate because I have a lot of work to do. And there's a default mind always screaming and nagging and complaining. Usually they appear to my right side. And I said, what's the point? You're ordained to meditate. You're ordained to see your word. You're ordained to discover the truth. But why are you spending so much time in the kitchen? What's the point to be ordained to spend much more time in the kitchen than the laywoman? And when I see that staying in the white robe, everything starts to make sense. Everything occurs for us to see the mind, no matter in what circumstances. So from that moment, I started to see the silver lining in every event. When I have time to meditate, I cherish that opportunity. When I have work to do to support other people, and then sometimes just do it, I also observe that, and I just do it. It's not taking my time away from meditation, because the ultimate purpose of us practicing meditation is not to gain peace. That's only a side product. The meditation is all about purifying the mind, training the mind. And to be able to do that, we need to learn to see it. So seeing that staying on the white robe, for me, is the strongest practice meditation with eye wide open. So when we started to, we all believe that there's every cloud, there's a silver lining. But when we started to see everything that happened occur in our life, it makes us to see the silver lining. So what is the silver lining in the Buddhist sense? Is whenever there's a rising of mental state, particularly the unwholesome mental state rises, and that's the silver lining for us to see is, oh, I see you, Mara. I see you, mental state. I see you, this particular unwholesome mental state. What's the cause of that? What's the cause of that? What's the cause of that? Why I repeat 3 times? Because at that moment, when unwholesome mental state already arisen, and the mind is already jumped out, try to blame for something else, rather than seeking for the true cause of it, we miss the silver lining. We look somewhere else. We're seeking for another piece of gray cloud. No, in the same piece of gray cloud, we look for the silver lining. The real cause of that suffering is within us. And this willingness to see that is what I call the Buddhist sense of silver lining. And from that moment, we cherish every opportunity, every obstacles, every challenges that we encounter in our life. That is the training opportunity. Just like when we sit in meditation, while sometimes this practice is so difficult because we cut off all the stimulances. The mind, untrained mind, want to be stimulated. It cannot get what it wants. And sitting for a few minutes seems very difficult. And the breath is tasteless, it's formless, there's nothing there. How can we grasp? It's like we're fighting in the air and we don't know where to hit. But be aware of that. Be aware of that it's within us that is taken away from the peaceful moment. Te Sang Samuppada Sukhom is their stillness, is true happiness. And in the Buddhist sense, we see happiness, the ultimate happiness, as peace. That means we can just be happy without getting something. The worldly happiness is always upon there's something we get. Or, in another way, there's something that we don't like, we can push it away. There's always something there. But the unconditional happiness is from letting go of, embrace anything that comes to us. Discover this willingness to see the silver lining. Whenever there's a rising of defilements, this is an opportunity to liberate ourselves, to liberate the mind, to find the strength within every human being, to use it to protect ourselves, and to use it to create conditions to bring peace to the world. And nowadays I heard this word peace so often, and it's appeared in our conversation here and there. How can we possibly contribute to bring the peace to the world? We start from looking within ourselves. The silver lining moment. Whenever there's absence of peace, whenever there's peace is being broken, that very moment, be willing to discover what's the cause of that. And this is why we're here together. We're here to hear someone talk so we can learn to our own conversation, this inner conversation. All this inner chatter in our mind. Upon all this mental state, we act through our body and speech. What is the white piece of this fabric in the Buddhist sense? It's sila, precepts. By keeping the precepts, observing the precepts, we started to see whenever we transgress the precepts, whenever we have this tendency to hurt, harm, taking life from other beings, all kinds of beings, not only human beings. And then whenever we act or speak upon taking something that is not given to us, including we quote someone's words without bringing a name into the quotation, including we probably take some picture from the website or from someone we know without letting them know, asking for their permission. We vow to be faithful to our spouse. So we watch, we be aware that whenever the mind is jumping into the temptation of getting closer, getting involved with the other party other than our spouse and partner, that we know because the precepts showing us the stain against the white fabric. As simple, as easy as that. Without the sila, we are like in wear the dark robe. We don't see the stain. We don't see how it occurred. If we don't see that, how can we clean it? How can we have this willingness and the readiness to clean, to deal with it, and to be more cautious in the future? Again, that our speech, without these white cloths, without know the right speech, how can we possibly know and be aware when we start to lose it, lose our mindfulness in our speech, things we speak? Is this truthful? Furthermore, is it right time? Is the right tone? And also this applies to while we're receiving other people's speech. We contemplate that. Whatever they said, whatever we receive, is this truthful or not? And then just patiently spend some time to study that. Maybe sometimes we get lost in interpretation. It occurs so often in a human life. Again, without awareness, if we only see the dark color, that we won't easily see the stain. Because about all this, the fifth is we be careful and we restrain from taking anything that is intoxicating. But today, intoxicating not only refer to what the Lord Buddha time. I think nowadays, this time we spend on the internet can be also very intoxicating. We can get lost in game, in surfing on the web. Like for hours, we watch the clock, said, is my clock broken? What's wrong with my clock? It's nothing wrong with me, it's the clock. I probably need to check the battery. So time just slips, but with the right rope, we sometimes know the process that things been contaminated, that in a way that if we are not open the eyes to see, and we will never ever, we've just been living with that. We've been living with these old habits. We've been living with the stain. We think absolutely fine with that. So this is the purpose for us to get together. And sometimes we act out of the compassion and loving kindness towards other human beings. Imagine that you have a veggie stuck between your teeth, and the sila is just like a mirror, and then you hold the mirror. Oops, I have veggie. It's fine to have veggie, and then you know how to deal with that. You pick it out of your teeth, and other people, Kalyanamitta, we can act as the mirror to other people. When they cannot see, we just say, "Oh, you have veggie," and you've been smiling for 2 hours. Just imagine how you wish it to be. You would like to wear it all the day and smiling to everybody, thinking you're looking gorgeous, proud of your teeth, or you want someone just saying, "I'm sorry, but yeah, you have something." What? Yeah, you have something. Oh, still laughing. Sorry, Julia. I mean, you have veggie in your teeth. Okay. No, it's oops. So we have many ways. This is, this is the value of all the people we get together. We help each other, and we use the right intention. Not like sometimes when people just make speech and they just shout, "You've got veggie in your teeth." So this is not the right speech. The right speech is... But you're welcome to point to me if I have something in my hand, anything that, I'm very happy because I see the silver lining. So cherish that when people act out of loving kindness to point something we don't get to see. But it's most important that it's a reminder for us. Sometimes, every now and again, we should imagine, am I wearing the white robe? Am I living the way that I have all these different means to point out the blind spot we cannot get see? It's okay that it's a choice. In Buddhism, it's all about choice. If you don't want to know, that's fine. But for those who wants to know, like this is the path for those only few who wants to be trained, who wish to be trained, and even fewer who will eventually reach the far shore. It's not an easy journey, but it's such an interesting journey that's just really worth us to give it a try at least. Ajahn Jayasaro used to say when he was in India, and then he's giving the Dhamma talk, and he said to people, please give Dhamma a chance. And when I was listening to that, I thought to myself, probably I would put it in this way, please give ourselves a chance. And Dhamma is the best gift that we can live on to give us not only one chance, endless chance in every single moment to see how we carried away by our habits, how we get used to the routine of life. We can still live in the same routine, but with different perspective. How much we know about the breath, if we don't know our own mind, how it functions. How can we understand other people? Sometimes we're thinking, oh, I don't understand him, I don't understand her. I usually always ask, do I understand myself? Probably we think we do, just like what I believe that my brown robe stays always very clean. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I'm not wearing the brown robe to work. I still wear them. But I know that I need to keep it clean, and that also brings more cautious. When I step into the dirt, I move slow. I be aware of the danger, the risk of getting, dirty. So it looks like I'm sitting here, but really, truly, I don't think I have that much to offer, because there's wisdom in all of us sitting here. Yeah. We just chose not to see it. We like to see, we're sitting on the treasure, and we choose to look around everywhere. We're digging all around, except, perfectly, smartly avoid that treasure that we are sitting right on top. Every moment, if we keep the precepts, it's like a mirror to reflect how easily we sometimes act upon our habits. And it's okay that if we get anger, disappointment, or this negative, or we call unwholesome mental states arising in the mind, they are not the problem. But the biggest problem is not to see it. So be aware of the rising of the mental state. That will give us a chance to eventually manage and to put a tweak on that. And so we will have chance to see it, and eventually it's the stealing of all these mental states. And then the mind will just rest in its ultimate happiness. It's just happy. It stays at ease. No matter what happens, this is it. The trained mind returns its real home. Whenever it's brought to, either to Africa, to America, to China, to Japan, to other planet, whenever things occurred, where the world is peaceful or unpeaceful, whatever how people treat us, receive us, the mind stays in its real home, in stillness, in silence, in its unconditional happiness. We all have these moments, but they slip. They slip so fast, And our mindfulness is not quick enough to catch it. But this moment in our meditation, the moment in our life when we just being there, it's just a pure being. Listen to that, it's human being. It's not human doing. It's not human running, human going, human fighting. It's human being, just being here. Learn to be a human being. Learn to be a human being by studying this mind. And to study this mind, we see from the way that how it relates to everything. And this is such an interesting lifetime project, that every project is the sub-project to this one. So I would probably just end my talk here, and would like to open some time for people to ask questions. And then I want to apologize. I didn't greet the people online. That's so welcome for this project and for this Saturday gathering. And you can also spend millions different times to surf on the web, for different things. But you choose to stay open this channel and then to be with people and spend some time, in a more valuable way. So that's a big merit. It's a big, we call it born. This is a big meritorial action that we have. And then for us to get together, it's not something just happen regularly on every Saturday. It's a lot of course condition to support that. And all of us here, we have so much merit to make this, for this to eventually happen. So it's not something that just happen, just occur, and it's just really like a rare event, I think, in the human history, that for us get together here. And I wish such auspicious event will continue to occur in our life, and then we will be continuous encounter with people that's been helping us to see, and also verse-wise, we're helping other people to see. So next time when you see the Vijay in somebody's teeth, finding the right way, practice your right speech. And then, yes. And also welcome other people to point that out for us.
หันธรรมยังธรรมคาถาสาธุภการังทดามาเสสาธุสาธุสาธุอนุโมทามิ
Thank you so much, Maechee. That was a beautiful talk. And we'll have just a few minutes for questions, either people in person here or people on Zoom. You can raise your electronic hand and ask questions.
Namaskaran ka, Maechee. I'm so glad that you make it here, and I'm so happy. Oh, everyone can hear me. I'm so happy that you're present today and blessing all of us. My question is the beginning of the reflections of impermanent is one of my very almost everyday chanting, and I would like to hear your thought of the words of like my life is uncertain, my life is my death is certain, and how you wrap your kindness thought around those and around this reflections of impermanent chanting. Thank you.
Death actually is personally my favorite subject. I never started to contemplate that subject when I started the step on the Dhamma, the path of the practice. Yes, I had to say that before I became a nun, I enjoyed life. I feel life is very sweet. I had a little complaint about life, though that is a thickened thing, but overall it's a beautiful movie. I like to watch it over again. And sometimes also find myself some snack. And so I didn't see the drawback of, when people telling me, talking about something like death or death, I think I probably wouldn't be that interested. But when I practice, I see, everything is subject to arise, is subject to cease. How is it? Some of the Dhamma concept seems so grand, so profound and big. We understand it's grand, it's profound, but how can we relate this to our daily life? And so observing the nature helped me to understand this profound concept. When you live in the nature, in the wild, and you look at all the leaves fall, and then they turn into the soil, and how the root of the tree sometimes grow and then poke out the surface of the soil, the ground, and stretch. And how the tree, and if you've been observing the skin of the tree and the bark of the tree, and you see how it develop and change, again, this is a circle. And I'm just thinking, this is how life, what we call the life is not certain. Life is not for sure, because every moment is changing. Our cells die, new cells generated. One breath is one death. One breath is one birth. It's just like that. What stops us understanding is our grasping on a certain way of seeing things. This is sometimes what we don't understand, or it's difficult for us to understand anicca, because we wish to be nitya. We think our life is, is something solid. It's like we see everything solid, like this is gone, it's solid. No, it's not. It's changing. Our life is too. Because it's happening within the body, that doesn't mean it's not happening. So we believe what we can see with the eyes, neglecting our sight even getting generated. So to live a good life, to live life in a good way, we have to understand that the time we're born, we're marching towards death. So I personally see life as a rehearsal of death. My compilation of death is very simple. It's sometimes off the track, but I find it very useful. And every time that when I experience some obstacles, either in meditation or in life or in all circumstances, I just simply ask myself a question. If this is the last moment of your life, death comes right now. Are you ready to receive it? You have 100% confidence that I can deal with that. Hey, death, I'm ready. Come. Can everybody have this confidence to say that? If there's a little hiccup in your answer, that's really worth us to see how we live our life. And so when in meditation, that when you feel the physical pain, you feel this mental agitation, and you just want to really leave, you feel that even asana is biting your bum. You just want to get off and ask yourself, if this is the very moment in my life, I have to face it. There's no way I can hide anymore. There's no way I can escape. There's no way I can distract myself anymore. Harming you to face it. And another way of that is when we just the old habits and then the action upon unwholesome mental state and get so resistant, and then I would just ask myself, when the mind is really keen to do something which is unwholesome, again there's a useful mantra. I would say, are you going to die if you don't do it? So we can, if we have this curiosity of studied mind, there's so many creative ways for us to introduce into our practice, into the contemplation of our life, and every moment we just see, it's worth us to see what if it's the last moment. So when we really on the purge of saying something which is harmful to other people, particularly to dear loved one, and we will say, okay, this is my last moment. What if this is he or her last moment? Would I still say that words? Will I still say things in this way? Will things will be different? It's this lack of, because things take time to appear, doesn't mean it's not happening, but the mind just grasps on it. This is the delusion. When things are not happening, we don't believe that it's going to happen. That is the big delusion in the mind. We think, yeah, it takes time. It happens every single moment in different form, if you really see what death is. Like Luang Por Chah said, if one live a mind, spend this moment without mindfulness, and that moment, he or she is dead. When we see time pass away, time pass by, time flies, we just say it. It's kind of become like a very poetic expression. If we really see that time pass by, we know it. And then we will decide, we will have a better understanding about how we're going to live our life. Because, the time that we're born, every breath, and I also introduce this into our practice in Paññāsirī. Then when we miss one breath, said, okay, I live one less breath. Always treating this last breath as the present breath as our last breath. And this urgency will arise. And it will be like an alarm clock that next to us ticking tock every moment. But this is only in the contemplating, in the manifested level of consciousness to understand life and death. There's another more profound way to understand this, of course, is in meditation. Then you see that everything that we consider as a piece of solid, like a body, everything, all the form, like in the 5 aggregates, we have the form. First is the form, and we see that everything is no solid existence, that is not changing. And once we see that, it's blowing our mind. And this is actually what the major feature of nibbida, disenchantment in meditation. When one experiences the nibbida, the disenchantment, with that direct experiencing, and there's no pulling back. This is the moment that you see the trick of the magician. And you will never be tricked, and you will see the delusion. You will never be deluded by, we believe, and also believe life and we're living. It's a delusion. When we live, we die too. These two actions happen at the same time. So we are marching to death, whether we believe it or not, every single moment. And this is something that requires to contemplate how we prioritize our time in every single moment.
Maybe one more quick question. Do we have anyone on Zoom? No? Okay. Anyone else here? Gary? Okay. We'll do two. We'll do two.
When you speak of it, it really hits home when you speak of that in thinking I am living, at the same time I am dying. And I'm becoming comfortable with that now, I think. But I know that it can be devastating to some people to hear that. And I'd like to hear, particularly in your experience, how do you enjoy life, constantly aware of that sometimes devastating reality?
Awakening is devastating. imagine that, imagine in the morning that we have like, I had, all of us here, we used to work, or we're still working, and we will work for a long time. I imagine in the morning, in the early Seattle morning was very chill. We don't want to get up. We have to use the alarm clock. Anybody hear that? You feel wonderful, my alarm went. I have to get up. Wonderful, it's like, everybody's like, TikTok said, you would just sing a song. I said, oh, wonderful. I woke up, I have to pull myself out of this really cozy blanket and go. No, you realize we live long enough to know that, there's work to do. And we have to deal with the discomfort. There's some priority of life. I enjoy life in a way that I only started to really, I thought I was enjoying life big time when I was a lay woman. And that also, of course, this is the biggest delusion in my life. I'm very happy to discover that it's a delusion. I only started to live my life when I stepped on the path. And I feel that this freedom I've been living with for 50 years' time, they are just conditioned. They're all based on getting something and pushing away something I dislike. Or even freedom is identified, is defined as, yeah, we have the choice of not to deal with things we dislike. We have the choice to get more what we like. It's so conditioned. It depends on health, depends on financial level, and depends on so many things. So when I started to practice, and when I see the stain on my white robe, I start to think, yeah, there's work to do. I'm dying. So this becomes that urgency, devastating about the death is approaching all the time. As a matter of fact, I realized I've never lived. I've been just finding a very comfy cocoon built by my delusion. I was made to believe I'm just like a beautiful slave to this mind. Everything I'm creating is creating an old habit, and layers after layers. In Buddhism, we call it samsara. It's drifting in the raging sea, but some of us, it happened that we're very skillful, built a very beautiful floating raft, and we just like circle around and drifting and have a little bit holiday, but without knowing, without seeing, we're in the raging sea. We can get swallowed any time. It didn't happen because the cause and condition is not supporting that event to arise, that moment, but doesn't mean it won't happen. So seeing that death is every moment with us, it's so powerful for me. I didn't feel devastated at all. I feel this is a wonderful gift. I can choose how to live my life before this physical, how can I say, before this physical phenomena, before this physical thing, and then when one day that the cause and condition, the four elements, is not supporting this result. And I want to, this is the way I decide, that while you will be able to put up with a lot of, hardships, and when you're kind of treated not that wisely by other people, instead of, fighting or responsible, I said, I have to be responsible for myself. I'm not going to act in that way. Instead, I will just be straight away looking for the silver lining. And I said, what can I learn? What can I learn from the arising of the mental state within this mind? You see, I'm not using the word my mind. There's no mind. This is wonderful about anicca, anatta. Nothing is ours, including kilesa. The defilement is not ours. And we're thinking, I'm an angry person. No, you're not angry. It's just according to the cause and condition. Anger arises in this moment. But the supporting cause for that is within ourselves. There's a seed of anger there. Look for that. Look for that stain. And clean it, and prevent any further seed to be planted in the mind. That is to remind us how we can live our life in the most responsible way, in the most self-respected way. If any of these components, all of us can take of this mind, the world will have less conflicting. So it looks like, and we're thinking, oh, you're selfish, you're living like life like even like parasite, you depend on other people. No, we're using this mind as experiment to discover what Lord Buddha taught us. a wonderful teacher. I was so happy when I bowed to the Buddha rule that I've been seeing on YouTube for so many times. I had so much joy about, I wish that I just keep my head down to this greatest teacher ever allowed me. I can touch, I feel so wonderful that it gives us a path that remind us every single moment we can choose to live our life differently. Even sometimes the form doesn't change, but within the mind, how we relate to the same life event, the way that we relate to it change completely. And that it's a possibility for us to discover. It's not a commander for us to follow. The precepts is our free choice to protect ourselves, to guard ourselves wisely when death comes to us, and we can receive it with a fully prepared mind. It's not devastating at all. Death is the most beautiful gift that reminds us it's an alarm clock. It will ring any time. So ask ourselves, are we ready for death? This doesn't only occur to senior people. This occurs to everybody, even the newborn child. What have we learned from this path before the last moment come to us? Embrace death. I won't say that in China because it's a taboo to talk about death. So I'm very grateful all of you allow me to be so blunt talking about death. And this is my favorite topic. So be careful every time I ask this question that we will have to maybe organize another 2 hours talking about life and death. And I really cherish that from somebody. Yeah, we can talk about this so delightfully. It's nothing threatened. This had the biggest silver lining, actually, if we see this with eyes open. And then it's not the death as a lump experience. There's so many things relate to death: sickness, aging, and then the unknown. What we feel fear about death, the biggest mindset behind that is a whole piece of unknown. So I will encourage, that's why I said, well, be aware of the end of the exhalation. That's where we are guided into the unknown. And then the practice of, this whole Dhamma practice is about being in the unknown, and the knowing is in the unknown. There's nothing to know, but to reach that state, we need to learn to know, to gain the knowing. Knowing just being. And then before we become a human being, we're all human doing, but do it the right way. Otherwise, we will be just human suffering. And it's inevitable, because if we don't see the nature in all existence, everything is impermanent, non-self, unsatisfactory. If we don't get to know this, we are inevitable, marching towards suffering. And may the whole world suffer too. Yeah.